Today in the nerdy news you need to know about, I got bad news. Robbie T live in the chat. I just bought a Switch. What should I get besides Zelda? You fucked up, Robbie T. The king is back for their throne. PlayStation is making a handheld so you can play your PlayStation 5 games on the go. Get your Steam Deck shit in the wind. Switch, get your baby games the fuck out of here. PlayStation's back. Portable gaming. We'll have all this and more, baby. Beyond. PlayStation's back. It's a PSP. It's number one, possibly the biggest story of all time. Bigger than Jesus coming out of that hole.
Mm-hmm.
Number one. Sony set to take on Nintendo with new portable PlayStation. This is a report from Wesley Yinpool at IGN.com. Sony is reportedly set to return to the handheld console market with a new portable PlayStation that plays PlayStation 5 games on the go. Bloomberg reports that this unannounced handheld console is in the works now, although won't be released for some time and may end up coming to nothing. Sony declined to comment. Sony wants to expand the market for PlayStation games. Bloomberg's sources said, with a handheld console that plays PlayStation 5 games. If the console does make it to market, Sony will be taking on Nintendo's unannounced Switch successor and a handheld Xbox, which Microsoft gaming chief Phil Spencer recently confirmed was in the works but years away. Quote, Sony's portable device is likely years away from launch, and the company could still decide against bringing it to market, the people said, asking not to be named, discussing private plans, Bloomberg said. Timothy Robert Geddes, you love tech.
I do.
You love your Steam Deck. You love your Portal.
Mm-hmm.
You always love your little Game Boys. You love your Switch.
Love it all.
What does this do for you?
I mean, a lot if it's true. I just think that we're in such an interesting place right now, and we've been talking a lot about this in the last week because of PlayStation Portal getting the cloud ability. And I feel like it's hard to think about this being a reality anytime soon when both Microsoft and PlayStation in different ways are saying it's years off. I think we're very much in the, all right, handheld PC gaming is very much a thing, but it has not reached that mainstream appeal quite yet. And I feel like there needs to be a level of ubiquity of the tech and the mainstream understanding of, oh, it works the way you expect it to.
Yeah.
For those to add up for these to be viable products out in the wild. And we'll get to a story, a couple stories down from here, talking about PlayStation's accessory line. And I'm just incredibly impressed with PlayStation 5's ecosystem. I think that they have done the best job they ever have of having a suite of peripherals that are very good products for price to quality to value, all of that connected, and they work well together. I'm not saying they're perfect, but I do think this is by far, compared to PS2, PS3, PS4, this is by far the best ecosystem that they've had. In previous years, they have had their Vita, PS3, Vita, PS4, that being kind of part of the ecosystem, but that was very much the birth of remote play.
Sure.
And I feel like we are light years ahead of where we were at that point with the technology, but also that being a dedicated handheld versus these days what we have. I don't think we're ever going to see a dedicated handheld again. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no.
But getting
gamers don't want that too, I would say.
Exactly. I feel like it splits the library of games. We saw that with 3DS and Wii U going to the Switch.
It's less than if you're just handheld.
What's up?
I think a lot of people look at it as less.
Oh, exactly. But when you just think of it, it's a portable PS5 or it's the Switch. It's Nintendo, but it's a console and it's portable. Like that is a different. There's a different level of like expectation from that, which I think is very important. And I also think that with things like the Portal and the Steam Deck and all of that and the advancements being made, I do think that very soon in the next year or two, there will be the breaking down the wall of as gamers are getting older and older and the needs for these things are getting higher and higher and the price of them are getting lower and lower as well. I think that the opportunity for a higher priced version to come out makes sense. Because I think that this, if they were to put this out, it's going to, the way that we want it, it's a $400 or $500 minimum product, right? Yeah. And I think that right now, that's not the time. There's not the time or place for that in terms of understanding in tech. But
what?
What do you have to say?
Man, it's so exciting, but it's also, I'm so torn over this. And I'll even toss in Phil talking about an Xbox handheld. Well, I guess maybe that's different or whatever. But let's keep it to PlayStation. This is such an exciting announcement, and I see so many people going by talking about like, oh man, I hope they don't abandon it like they did PlayStation VR 2. Well, if there's no support, it'll fail, yada, yada, yada. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about with support, because it's just a PlayStation 5 that's portable. That you don't need support for that, right? You just need it to work. You just need it to be what you're expecting, right? The problem is that I think right now you do that this holiday, you do it next spring, it fucking crushes. You do it years from now with what a year gap before PlayStation 6. You know, I like that's where I get lost in the sauce of. This is super cool and exciting, and I would love to have it right now. I would love to have an Xbox handheld right now and be like, it is going to play Indiana Jones as well as an Xbox Series S does, right? I'd love to have this PlayStation 5 right now. That way I can just go work on whatever and yada, yada, yada. I find it less exciting when we're on the precipice of the next generation. And I think that my hope would be that if you're doing this and thinking about attacking a handheld this way, you would even push it back to be in line with those things where it can, not the PlayStation 6 or the Xbox 2, whatever it's going to be, is out of the box. It is a Switch. But like you do this 2 years into that life cycle. Cause what do we see with a PlayStation 5 Pro or a redesigned Slim or a Xbox? You know, people want to sell more consoles and they're always trying to figure out how to do it. And you look at the blowback to the PlayStation 5 Pro right now, where it's like, it's not that great, but whatever. Like, that's not what PlayStation wants. This would be a way to add in more PlayStation 5s to a niche audience, but an audience that I do think is quite large.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. I think that we just got to look at kind of the realities of where we're at with generations.
Yeah.
And more and more, they matter less and less. I feel like we're at a point now when specifically we're talking about PlayStation here. I mean, talking about Xbox, they've already kind of gotten rid of it. Like even they're trying their hardest to make games as backwards and forwards compatible as they possibly can.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the limitations of that to some extent, but they are committing to that vision.
Agreed.
And then on the PlayStation side, PS4 to PS5, like how many of the PS5's greatest games so far are also playable on the PS4? I even think back the generation before of Metal Gear Solid 5 being amazing on the PS3 and 360. That seems unimaginable for how high quality those games were. Those games coming out later into the life cycle, right, of the generation. I feel like when we get into the actual conversation of these products actually coming out, which they're saying here years away, thinking what years away could mean is that in line with the PS6, alongside the PS6? Is there even a number associated with this? It doesn't matter because it is just a PlayStation handheld that can play PlayStation games to some different level.
Of course.
I expect that to be what this is.
Yeah, you know.
Just last thing I want to say real quick is AI. I feel like that's the big thing. It's the pisser, the DLSS, all of these techs that right now are still in their infancy, but are, I mean, at this point, I would say they're not in their infancy. They're about to graduate elementary school. You get what I'm saying?
Fair.
If not even further than that. But like, I do think that with how rapidly these things are increasing, I think that the tech of most games and how everything's being pushed forward, we're going to get to a point where a new standard is hit. And obviously there's a push for this 4K 60. That's the magic number for consoles, right? We're still far from that. I think the PS5 Pro is the closest we've gotten to it on a console side of that being the standard. It's not going to, there will be exceptions to the rule for sure, but that is seemingly what they're trying to make the standard. I think that's a really good sign that on the portable side, a 1080p 60 for these new PS5 games coming out, that could work and that can actually be a viable product on a small screen.
Yeah.
They just need to be able to make that all happen. And there's so much tech required for that.
For me, the whole problem is
This episode's brought to you by Aura Frames. Like a lot of people, my mom is not the most tech savvy, so it seems weird to get her a tech adjacent gift, but Aura's digital frame is actually perfect. That's because yes, it's tech, but it's so easy. Seriously, it's so easy to get started, but then once you do, the tech is incredible. You can upload photos right from your phone in just a click. It'll even pair photos together for me like two pictures of the same person or from the same day. There's no memory cards or USBs required. Most people at Kinda Funny have Aura Frames at their desks, and it's always so fun to see what memories they have displayed. It is such a great gift for your parents or grandparents, and you could even surprise them with their gift being preset with your own pictures. For a limited time, you can visit auraframes.com and get $45 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames by using promo code KINDAFUNNY at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code KINDAFUNNY. This exclusive Black Friday Cyber Monday deal is their best of the year, so don't miss out. Terms and conditions apply. This episode is brought to you by Shady Rays. Get ready for this holiday season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have all of your gift-giving needs covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. durable frames and world-class optics for all outdoor adventures. With an extensive array of styles and colors, you're bound to find the perfect pair of Shady Rays sunglasses. Y'all know I've been outside in the sun a lot playing Pokemon Go, and it's always such a great experience wearing Shady Rays when I'm out and about looking dope. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost or broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Exclusively for you listening right now, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal. Head to shadyrays.com and use code KINDOFFUNNY for 50% off 2 or more pairs of shades. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Shadyrays.com, use code KINDOFFUNNY for 50% off 2 or more pairs of shades.
The understandably so darkened hallway that the PlayStation 6 is. Like, for this reminds me, remember when we did the rating the consoles and all that jazz on Gamescast, and we talked about the Sega Nomad, and I talked about how, man, I would have killed for it. I was a Sega kid. I love my Genesis, but by the time the Nomad came out, I was already on to the next thing. Like, that's what I worry about here, and it's a dated way to worry about stuff. But I'm also going to be way less excited if this PlayStation 5 handheld drops. I get it, and I get a year with it before PlayStation 6 comes out. And then it is this argument of, well, you know, we held off on so many first-party games this year, or this generation for PlayStation 5, so you are getting stuff at the launch of PlayStation 6, but it won't work natively with your PlayStation 5 handheld. But you can stream it, you can remote play it, you can do all the things I'm already doing with the Portal.
But the thing there, though, is like we just need to be realistic of, are you willing to spend $3,000 on a handheld? Because that's the only way that's going to be possible, if that even is possible. Like,
sure.
Like we're talking about, like, yeah, you don't get all the fanciest brand new bells and whistles because you're taking it portably. There has to be concessions made there. And I think that as cloud gaming and all that stuff enhances, and as the AI stuff enhances, I do think we're going to be able to get games running natively on a system a lot cheaper resource-wise.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, it's never going to be as good as the giant box that you have.
My whole thing is I don't need to be as good. I already expect with an Xbox handheld, and I'm just saying the Xbox's handheld is this generation of Xboxes. I forget if they've said that or not. And PlayStation handheld, which is PlayStation 5, I'm not expecting them to look as good as a Pro model or on my 4K TV or anything. I'm already expecting concessions there. I just don't want I will be let down. I don't know. I'm not going to be as excited if I buy it and then the PlayStation 6 gets announced and it's like, well, you can't do. It's not even I want to be able to play my whatever it is on a fucking plane.
But just think about the reality of.
Like, I know the reality.
But think about what that means, though. You want to be able to play the PS6 games on your Portal or on your PlayStation Portable next gen, whatever it is, in a couple years. Like, let's look at year 1, year 2, year 3 even of the PlayStation 6. Are you telling me that those games aren't also going to be on PlayStation 5? And there's no way.
And so then that's great. But then I need PlayStation to get their fucking shit together where it's like, all right, cool, my save can go back and forth, and it's one trophy list, and they're reading together, and it's not that I'm using the PlayStation 5 version on my handheld, and I'm using the PlayStation 6 version on my console, and they don't talk to each other, so like I'm fucked.
Yeah,
that's the one thing.
No, I mean you're right, and that I do think is something that's why I think
you would hope they have this much time to figure it out.
You would, but I don't have faith in that. Like,
sure.
I do think that is probably like one step too far for PlayStation based on how they've done things in the past, and they're still building off of the same infrastructure that they've had. So it's, I think, a lot more difficult for them to fix prior mistakes going forward. Whereas Xbox cared about that stuff so much from the beginning, which obviously is really paying off for them here. But I do think that you're right in what you're saying of like, it would be a bummer to not get on the new things. I just truthfully don't think that that's going to be an issue if this thing actually ends up coming out. I think if this comes out, we're going to be able to play some version of all the games that we'd be wanting.
As long as they talk to each other, I'm fine with it. As long as if we're doing the cross-gen releases and titles and stuff, as long as the saves are going back and forth and they figure that out, then no big deal. I'm down to make the concessions there, load times, graphics, etc. Like, I just want to be able to take everything on the road with me and be able to go.
Yeah.
And so, like, again, just removed, it's exciting as somebody who loved their PSP, loved their Vita, the Switch has been such a godsend in terms of like, yo, this is one system. This is what it does. And granted, I'm not the Nintendo guy, but I've loved that ability of play, plug it in, take it, go, blah, blah. And I'm so happy that Steam saw something in that to go make the handheld. ROG Ally, of course, too, and everybody else. And then now to see Xbox and PlayStation look into it, it's exciting for me since I like console gaming so much more. But then I do wonder if by the time they get to where the finish line is, are they going to still see a value in it, or will the ROG Ally next gen and this thing and the other one, and then the Steam Deck be to a level where it's like, oh man, that's so ubiquitous and so nice. I do, as somebody who uses their Steam Deck, right, so much, like, I love my Steam Deck. I love the ability of when the save getting uploaded and there it is, and I pick it up and I go and but then there are the hurdles I have to jump of like it going into Proton or doing this and changing my frame rates.
I think that it just goes back to my original premise on this of PlayStation and Xbox are only going to release these products if the other products have done well enough that they have something that they can own as their own ecosystem, and that there is just a value proposition there that you are getting rid of a lot of the little speed bumps that you need to, because I'm a PlayStation guy, I'm an Xbox guy. This is where this matters to me the most. Which already I think the PlayStation Portal is a step in that direction,
and it's doing really well. Right?
It's doing
better than they thought it was.
incredibly well. I wonder what the sales numbers are on it, because I wonder at what point do we already even know? Like, has the Portal outsold the Steam Deck?
Oh wow, I don't think we know those numbers like that. Yeah,
but I mean, it wouldn't be that difficult to do.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you're wrong. Let me know if we have information on the Portal sales.
Yeah, you know how much I love my Portal, and I was shocked last week. I don't think I was on any of the shows around it, but shocked when they were like, "Hey, we're happening. We're updating it. You can go and stream your PlayStation 5." Like, that's fucking
and it's
awesome.
not a charge. It's not like, oh, hey, here's a new SKU, the Portal 2.0, but they don't even call it that like they did with the PSP and things like that. It's like, no, it's just firmware update for a major update.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Can't wait for them to firmware updates where I can just use regular Bluetooth headphones.
God, it's such a disaster. What the hell, man?
Why PlayStation? Why do that such a dumb fucking thing?
Hate that.
Stupid. We have plenty of people super chatting in to be part of this very show. Of course, if you want to be part of the show and talk about PlayStation's handheld, youtube.com/kindafunnygames with those super chats. The one, the only, Tricky Kappa says, I recently bought a Vita for modding and am very charmed by it. Sony had a really unique approach to handhelds that I would love to see come back. Yeah, I think we can say a lot of different things about a lot of different things when PlayStation. A lot of the fuck ups, a lot of the stupid things they do. Tim, am I wrong to say they make sexy devices?
I mean, they have.
I mean, they can make an Ugo too, but I think more than likely, I like the aesthetic of a PlayStation device. Like, I like what they've done. I mean, I love my Vita. I love the redesigned Vitas. I love the PSP. Like, I enjoyed all of those. Those are sexy devices I remember to hold and have.
Yeah.
I still like it. And I remember, Barrett's, if you're an audio listener, Barrett's put up PlayStation 5. Remember, the Kind of Funny audience voted this the most attractive system. So
yeah. I wouldn't use the word sexy.
Up your ass,
but
Barrett.
Yeah, there's something there.
Kicking up north, PS5 ugly. Unfrozen caveman in the chat.
Someone in the chat was saying that it's from the numbers we have now that we had 900K for Portal and 3-point-something million for the Steam Deck.
Okay.
That's pretty damn good, though, to see the pace of how well the Portal's doing, and if they're going to keep supporting the Portal the way that they have. Like, PlayStation has something on their hands with this one, man. The fact that they put out multiple, like the 30th anniversary Portal, I think is very telling of them seeing major success there, and that they're like, oh, we're going to keep pushing this. The cloud update obviously is huge. I know. I got one about it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Good job. Mr. Hawks 182. Your Fallout 76 expert writes in and says, have we been looking at next generation wrong this whole time? Is it going to be a battle of docked handhelds? I wish, but it won't be. Right? The next generation is going to be super sexy, crazy boxes that cost a lot of money and do a lot of things and are better visuals and yada, yada, yada. And then they will sell you a handheld at some point if they already haven't.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I feel like that is kind of still the core value of why a next-gen console needs to exist, is to have the most powerful box possible to play an ecosystem of games.